Alright, good morning guys. So today we're looking at exercise 4D, which involves circle graphs. So as you can see here on my whiteboard, I have a general equation, x squared plus y squared equals r squared. Now the thing that's interesting about these graphs are that they are not single lines, they are actually full circles. So in the case of on here, if I draw, okay, it's going to be x squared plus y squared equals 4. Well, we know that 4 is also 2 squared. So what this equation would actually create is a graph that centers around 0, 0, and it has a radius of 2. So what I would actually do is I would go around and I would mark my points there. And I would mark the graph like so. All right, and so what I've done there is I've created a graph with a center at 0, 0 and a radius of the square root of r, so a square root of r squared, so r. So depending on how big r is, that depends on how big the circle is. Now what we can also do with our circle graphs is that we can change where the center point of those graphs are. But before we start fiddling with where the center is, we're going to need to go over to the CAS, because the CAS, you can't enter x squared plus y squared equals r squared in the normal graph and table section. Because if you remember, if you go to the graphs and table section, everything is set up as y equals. Alright? Everything's set up as y equals. You cannot do x plus y on the same side of your equation symbol. So what you're going to need to do is go into the conics section. Alright? And you will have a conics equation, and what we can do there is we can do x squared plus y squared equals r squared. And then we can press our variable button. And it will give me a proper circle. And then I can manipulate what that circle looks like. So in the case here, r is 2. It centers at 0, 0, goes up, etc. Can I make the CAS screen a little bigger? Is that big enough for you? Can't leave it like that, but that's what it looks like. So again, we go to menu and we want conics. And then we can enter our conics equation into here. And that allows us to do circle graphs. Now, what we can also do is currently, where is the center of this equation? Where is the center of my circle? It's at the origin. So because the center is at the origin, there's a value in here and a value in here that determine where the centers are. Yep, 0, 0. For a minute there, I thought you were just surprised. So what we can do is we can go to our connects and we can do this. So we can add some extra variables into our equation, and we can use this to move where the center is. All right, and when we change those, that's going to then change where the intercepts are. But you got to remember that your intercepts are going to be 4 units away, or are units away from wherever the center is. So no matter where I move my equation to.
So can you show us how to get the circle on the graph? Because I still haven't done that.
Okay, so again, one more time for people who weren't paying attention the first time. On menu, go to Connex. And then enter the equation like this. And then hit that variables button. So so because of the way I've got it set up here, yeah, your textbook may have it written differently. It may have it written as x minus a, y minus b. And at which point, if A is a positive number, it's moving to the right. If B is a positive number, it is moving up and down. All right. So we can adjust the radius by changing R. We can move the center up and down by moving the B value, so what's next to Y. And then we can change the A value to move it left and right. All right, so if it's x plus a number, it's probably being moved to the left. If it's x minus a number, it is being moved to the right. If it's y plus b, it's being moved down, because minus. And then if it's y minus a number, it's moving up. All right. The other thing that we can do with circles is we can apply a dilation to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set these up so I can create some new sliders. Because what we can then do what have I done? Stupid thing. doesn't work. Never mind. Thought it would work. So, what you need to do, what we're going to need to do for exercise 4D is you're going to get a bunch of circles and you are going to draw them. Now, the other thing I want you guys to think about is, say you don't, for some reason, have access to Connex. What a world. But we still need to be able to use a calculator or whatever to help us draw these things. So to do that, what we're probably going to need to do is we're going to need to actually manipulate our equation. So I'm going to move this back over the side there and hide the panda. And I'm going to get my whiteboard out and I'm going to give myself a new blank page to work with. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have an equation x minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 25. Alright, so what you guys need to be able to do is you need to be able to look at that and then tell me where is the center, what is the radius. Where is the center and what is the radius? Remember, it is x minus 2, so it has been moved. Has it been moved to the left or the right by 2 units? Jaden is correct. It is a radius of 5. Where is the center of that graph going to be? What does minus 2 do? What does the plus 3 do? So I've got 2 units to the left, 3 units up. I think some people are thinking upside down. All right. So on our CAS, let's try it. Let's just straight up try it. X minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 25. And where is it? The center is down at positive 2 minus 3. So Bol and Hawa are correct. Alright, so remember, if it's x minus 2, it's been moved 2 to the right. If it's y plus 3, it has been moved down. Alright, this is where it challenges your automatic pilot sort of stuff. You're thinking, oh well, if it's plus, it must be moved to the left. Well, it gets all squiggly when we're now thinking in terms of a y-axis movement as well. Alright, so there's our center. Now, the other thing that this graph does is because we've moved it, we now have multiple x-axes and y-axis intercepts. So, I need to be able to manipulate this equation so that I can find where my intercepts are. Alright, so if I go back to my whiteboard. To find my x-intercepts, what do I need to make equal to 0? I need to make y equal to 0. So to find x-ints, make y equal to 0. So that means I have x minus 2 squared plus 3 squared equals, oh, spoiler alert there, so that means now I keep going from here, that becomes plus 9. Then I now have x minus 2 squared equals 16 because I've subtracted from both sides. Now what do I do? Now what do I need to do, guys? So I'm sure as hell not done. What do I have to do next? Alright. I do not need to expand. However, that is one possible way you could have done it. Yeah, square root both sides. If I square root both sides, if I square root that 16, what am I going to end up with? Just 4, Bol? Just 4? Am I going to end up with just 4? My left hand, it's plus minus. Alright, so I take the square root of that. I'm going to end up with x minus 2 on this side. And then on the other side, I'm going to end up with plus minus 4. And then to finish it off, I'm going to add 2 to both sides. So I'm going to end up with x is equal to 2 plus minus 4, which means that my answers are 6 and minus 2. Alright? I have 2 answers because if you look on my graph, I have 2 intercepts. I have that one there, which is quite clearly minus 2, and I have one over here, which is clearly 6. Now, what you'll also notice is that if you were to look at where these are in comparison to where the center is, you'll notice that that's a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Because I've had to go 4 across, 3 up to get to that one, 4 across, 3 up to get to that one, and the distance is 5. Cute little tidbit there for you. Now, y-intercept, a little different. A little different in that it's not going to be a nice clean set of numbers. So what we'll do is I'll just shove this over . Shove that over there for the time being. And now I need to make a start on my y-intercept. Oh, when x equals 0. So I need to substitute that in there. So I have minus 2 squared plus y plus 3 squared equals 25. Minus 2 squared is what? Don't leave me hanging, guys. Thank you. So it's going to be 4 plus y plus 3. I don't know why it's doing that. Equals 25. Minus 4 from both sides, I get y plus 3 squared equals 21. Square it both sides. Y plus 3 equals the square root of 21 plus minus. Therefore, your y-intercepts are going to be at y equals minus 3 plus minus the root of 21, which you will need your calculators to do. But because it's square root of 21, 21 is between 16 and 25. The answer is going to be about 4.5-ish. So it's going to be minus 3 plus 4.5-ish and minus 3 minus 4.5-ish. Which if we look at our CAS, we can already see it's about 1.5. And down here, it's about 7.5, minus 7.5. All right, and then you can use your CAS to confirm analysis, GSolve, XCal, YCal. When X is 0, Y is negative 7.58 or 1.58. Alright, so that's where I'm going to leave it, the recording for today, guys. So we're looking at 4D. As always, send your work to me. I will check you off. If I do not see some work from some people, I'm going to start leaving notes for your house leadership teams. So please, even if you haven't done them yet, please send me some of your work. Alright, please send me some of the work that you've been doing. Alright? I need things to do. I'm going incredibly stir crazy here. Alright? So I'm going to end the recording here. If you guys want to hang out in the chat, you can. You want to ask me questions, please keep sending me questions. I'm looking for questions to spend my afternoon recording. Alright? I want to record worked out answers for you. Alright? So please do that.